Quasi here, and in today's video I want to share with you how I healed myself through implementing 4 different lifestyle hacks. And by the end of this video, you're going to learn how to implement these hacks that have helped me personally, and how to implement it so that you not only heal yourself, but you become much healthier, live life with much more ease, and also find that working and doing what you need to do actually becomes exciting every single day. So please stick around to the very end of this video, because this is something that is very, very minute, very small and tiny, but the changes that it makes to the quality of your life is very significant. Before I begin this video, I want to quickly announce that I made a brand new bootcamp for you. If you scroll down to the comment section below, you'll find a pinned comment that contains the bootcamp video, as well as exclusive access to our email list, where I can share stuff that I can't really share on the channel. So without further delay, let's go right ahead and get started. So in this video, I want to talk about how to heal yourself. And what I've recently discovered is that in the past, I used to get injured quite a lot. You know, back when I was working out, I would go to the gym, I would hit these weights, and I would try to lift heavy, but I would just end up injuring myself, and I would just suffer through injury like every 2 to 3 months. I would have this crazy back pain and I just couldn't heal it, and I couldn't even walk, and I would have to take long periods of breaks just to recover and heal. And I also had this like big wrist problem that I just couldn't heal myself from for months and months. Right? It was like over 7 or 8 months I had this wrist problem from this one time that I injured myself. And what I started to see was that back then I injured myself quite frequently, but on top of that I used to get the common cold quite a lot. My immunity was very, very bad too. So I started to question why this was, and I started to get deeper into understanding biohacking, understanding ancient yogic cultures and why they ate the way they did and they exercised the way they did. And I've recently come to this realization of 4 different things that one must do in order to optimize their life to the absolute best. Additionally, on top of that, I realized that I had this crazy brain fog and I couldn't work and think deeply. You know, most of my work was shallow work where I would just either post stuff on social media and do marketing, but I couldn't really think properly to be able to produce something of quality, right? Once I implemented these changes, my life just went to an absolute new level. You know, I was more excited to work every single day. I was excited to show up to work. I was excited to live my life. I didn't have this brain fog that was haunting me. And I always felt like there was this ease. I always feel like there's this ease in life right now. And I can just move through it swiftly without feeling so much friction, without having to force myself to do things, okay? And I want this to be possible for you as well. So I've come up with 4 different lifestyle hacks that are gonna help you, okay? So let's go right ahead and get started with those. The number one biggest thing is obviously food, right? So let's talk about that, food. So what most people get wrong with food is they just eat anything, right? They just eat stuff that they've been eating without any consideration of how it makes them feel. What I first started to realize was that after having a meal, I would get bloated, and then I would have to take 30 minutes to an hour to just digest that meal until I could start feeling better to start working again. And I thought that was normal. You know, I was like, oh, you know, when you eat, you're supposed to get tired. That's normal, but it's not normal. It might slow you down a little bit, but if you eat the right food and if you eat the right amount, you should be good to go just after you eat. You don't need to take a nap after you eat. You don't need to like lie down after you eat or do it, like just be idle. You can go straight to work if you're eating the right food. So that made me go on a search for the right kinds of foods to eat. And then what I realized was you should understand your own gut microbiome and what's good for you and what's not good for you. And I took this test called the Viome test. I would recommend it for anyone. It's a couple $100, but what it does is you have to give them a sample of your blood and your stool. And when you give it to them, the laboratory processes it and they send you back the results. And it tells you what foods will be good for you and why it'll be good for you, and what foods will be bad for you and why they'll be bad for you. What I discovered was I should avoid, based on my gut microbiome, I should avoid tomatoes because I had this virus in my gut microbiome called the tomato frugivorous virus or something. And it basically says that my gut has this virus that makes tomatoes toxic. So I'm not fully sure on the science here, but I just listened to it and I tried it and it works. Right, so that app gives you a detailed description on what to avoid and why. The other thing was histamines. And this was a huge one for me because I would see that I love to eat sour cream, but my body doesn't process it well. My digestive system doesn't process it well. So sour creams, heavy creams, or any sort of dairy will contain some histamine. But things that are more fermented, like yogurt and sour cream, are higher in histamine. And when I ate things that have histamine in it, it was bad for me. And it would make me bloated instantly. I would instantly get bloated and I would not be able to work it out, have this crazy brain fog. Ever since I got rid of sour creams and yogurts, I started to feel a lot better, right? So then I started to realize why I felt like shit after eating Chipotle. It's because I would always get it with sour cream, right? So avoiding histamines was a huge one for me. And the other thing that I had to avoid was anything that's inflammatory, kind of like red meat. So if I ate a lot of beef, it would immediately slow me down. When I started to eliminate beef, I started to recover from injury a lot quicker. How I realized this was 1 month my wife and I decided to go vegan. And for that whole month, we didn't eat anything with meat or dairy, right? No animal products at all. And that month, I started to, all of my past injuries that kept plaguing me, all of a sudden disappeared. For just that 1 month that I decided to go vegan. But I realized that that wasn't sustainable because after the month, my health started to deteriorate. So after that, I went semi-vegetarian. So I would eat chicken and occasionally red meat, but not too much of it, right? So now my diet is avoiding these things and eating mostly chicken and vegetables and fruits, right? So those are the big things that I figured out. The other thing that this test tells you is what would be superfoods for you. And what I realized was things that would support my individual unique gut microbiome are apple cider vinegar, which I take 2 tablespoons of every night before bed. And that really helps you sleep like a baby, by the way. Bananas and avocados. These are good for my unique gut microbiome. So in that sense, this test was very valuable to me. And whenever I started eating these and avoiding these, I started to feel a lot better. And the other thing I started to avoid was sugar. When I cut down sugar, I started to feel a lot better. And the other thing you can include in your diet are basil seeds after a meal. This is what helped me digest better, and also honey. And finally, clarified butter. I know this is a lot, but these honey and clarified butter are yogic superfoods. These are sattvic foods, which really support your digestive system and this clarified butter allows your joints to get more lubrication and helps your digestion. Honey is just naturally a superfood. Like, it has so many benefits. You can even Google it. I can't tell you a lot of them off the top of my head, but a big thing honey does is if you take it at night before bed, it will help your liver keep its stores of, I don't know what it is, it's like a form of sugar. But the reason that what would happen to me is if I would eat sugar before bed, I would wake up at 3 a.m. just wide awake. When I started eating honey and avoiding sugar before bed, that never happened anymore. I wasn't wide awake at 3 a.m. I could just go back to sleep, right? So these were superfoods for me. Apple cider vinegar, bananas, avocados, basil seeds, honey, and clarified butter. I'm pretty sure apple cider vinegar, basil seeds, honey, and clarified butter would be superfoods for anyone, but especially for my gut microbiome, bananas and avocados were key. And how I found this was through the Viome test. So the key is to avoid and understand what things are harmful to you and do more of what things are superfoods for you, right? And that's what I realized with food. When I started to do those, my inflammation went down, I started to feel better, I started to not get injured, and I could function and perform better, right? So that's number one. Number two, key big thing is exercise. Now, most people don't understand the importance of it. And what I realized was I thought I was exercising well, right? I thought I was healthy. I was going to the gym 3 times a week. But the days I didn't go to work out, I was completely idle. And when I was completely idle and I was just sitting in front of the computer, just working, and my body didn't get any physical activity at all, I couldn't fall asleep at night. Even though my brain was tired, I was brain dead, my body was alive. Right? So when I started to implement daily exercise, some form of daily exercise, I started to feel a lot better. So the key I understood was you should at least get 20 minutes of exercise every day. 20 minutes every day. And at least 2 days of intense exercise, whether this be heavy lifting or cardio. This was the sweet spot for me. Getting to at least 20 minutes of exercise every day and having 2 days in the week where you spend an hour and a half doing intense exercise. If you do this, your body starts to get used more, and in the days that you don't do intense exercise, you can recover. So what I recommend is every single morning just going out and getting a quick workout in, whether this be for a quick walk or anything else. So every morning I take a quick 20-minute walk. On top of that, I'm going to put this in exercise. That's physical exercise. Mental exercise involves meditation, daily meditation, or yoga. And obviously you know what the importance of this is. When I started to meditate mentally, I would have this state of equanimity and calmness, which I could bring about in my day-to-day actions. And my judgment wouldn't be clouded by all of the ruckus that was going on. So all of those things, eating the right kinds of foods will immediately help you mentally feel better too. The mind-body is connected, right? They feed into each other. If the body is stressed, the mind's going to be stressed. If the mind's stressed, the body is going to be stressed. So these 3 things, in terms of exercise, were very, very key for me. And why they were key for me was your body needs physical activity. If you don't give it physical activity at nighttime, you won't be able to fall asleep, even though your brain is dead. Because nowadays we have a lot of sedentary jobs, right? Like most of our work isn't physically taxing. It's mostly online on a computer doing some spreadsheets or something. But if you don't combine that with physical exercise, your mind might be getting tired, but your body is not. And if your body isn't tired, you won't be able to sleep no matter how hard you try. So this is the absolute minimum you must do in order to live a healthy lifestyle. That's number 2. Number 3 is probably one of the most important ones of all. And this is sleep. And boy, is this underrated. Sleep is probably the most important thing you can do. And most people don't sleep enough for their needs. And why they don't sleep enough for their needs is because they've heard somewhere that they've got to sleep a certain amount of hours, which is complete BS, right? People tell you that you've got to sleep, at least 7 hours a night, or 9 hours, or 8 hours a night. I don't know the studies on this. There's different people saying different things. Some are saying that, you can sleep 6 hours a night, and some think they can sleep 6 hours a night. It's very individual and very unique. What I figured out was I need to sleep as much as I need to sleep in order to feel well rested the next day. Okay? So what I stopped doing was I stopped setting an alarm. Stopped setting alarm. So I don't have an alarm clock. I simply wake up when the body is fully rested. And I like to go to bed early. So it will happen that some days I will sleep as little as 7 hours. I'll be in bed for 7 hours, 7.5 hours. And on other days, I will sleep as much as 9 hours, right? So my balance is somewhere from 7 to 9 hours. If I get less than this, I function less optimally. If I get more than this, I get too groggy, right? And usually I won't get more than that unless I'm forcing myself to, because I think I need more sleep and I'm not listening to the body. Just like with food, people don't listen to their bodies. If a meal makes you feel like shit, you should investigate what about that meal makes you feel like shit, right? Just like that with sleep, if you don't feel you've slept well enough, then You need to investigate why, what impacted it, maybe something you've eaten, or maybe your brain was on high alert and you haven't calmed it down before going to bed. So for me, somewhere between 7 to 9 hours helps. And usually I sleep 9 hours after I've had intense exercise the day before, intense activity, and I sleep 7 when I don't need that much sleep. So the key thing I did was, again, stop setting an alarm. Please don't set an alarm, because you're shocking your body into waking up instead of training it to wake up, instead of training your circadian rhythm to wake up. There's 4 different phases of sleep. 4 phases. We have the 3 stages of non-REM and 1 REM. And what happens is your REM sleep helps your brain to get smarter, and the non-REM sleep helps your body to recover. So in non-REM, there's 1 deep sleep and 2 stages of light sleep, okay? And in REM, there's just REM. So there's light plus deep. And how I realized this was through reading this book. I'll probably attach the link to this below. There's a great book on this. I think his name is Matthew Walker, and it's called Why We Sleep. And also tracking my sleep through a ring called the Oura Ring. There's another tool for you. The Viome test and the Oura Ring are important tools for you in your arsenal to mastery. When I track my sleep in the Oura Ring, I can tell that there are different sleep phases. They tell me that there's a light sleep and a deep sleep and a REM sleep. You want to make sure that your deep and your REM are good. That means your brain and your body is recovering really well. And the light sleep will naturally come. And usually I get around 2 hours of deep sleep every night and around an hour and 15, hour and 20 of REM. For some reason, I don't get a lot of REM sleep. I don't know if it's the ring. The ring isn't 100% accurate, so I don't fully trust it. I only use it to get myself into a consistent routine, and then I ditch it. So there's 4 phases of sleep. Use the Oura Ring. 7 to 9 hours is something that works for me. The other key thing with sleep is start going to bed earlier. If you have to wake up earlier and you want to train yourself to wake up earlier, start going to bed earlier. So I used to go to bed at 11, then I started to go to bed at 10, and now sometimes I'll even go to bed at 9:30. Right? So I've trained my circadian rhythm. So you have what's called as the circadian rhythm. And your circadian rhythm is essentially what tells your body now is the time to sleep and now is the time to wake up. So I've trained my circadian rhythm to be accustomed to sleeping from 10 to 7 or 11 to 7, right? So I can go to bed easily at 9, 10, 11, and I can wake up. I just naturally wake up at around 7, 7:30. And even if I go to bed at 2 or 3 a.m., I'll still wake up at 7. Even if I go to bed at 5 a.m., I'll still wake up at 7. It's because I've trained my circadian rhythm like that. It just can't sleep past that time anymore unless I retrain it if I were to go to a different time zone, right? So you want to train your circadian rhythm and keep this consistency even on weekends to the best of your ability. Don't let partying and going out ruin your circadian rhythm. So these are the keys. Sleep. And the last thing is environment. Environment. Now, what do I mean by this? These days, living in apartment complexes, it's difficult to surround yourself with nature. Surround self in nature. Your body naturally gets calmer and is fed with negative ions when you are in natural marvel. So if you have like a waterfall near your area, go to it. It releases a lot of negative ions which are very good for you. Surround yourself in nature with plants. Keep plenty of plants in your house. If you don't have them already, I would definitely encourage getting them. And at least once a day, go out into the forest or to a park or something and take a walk there. That'll be super helpful. Surround yourself in nature. The next thing Get at least 15 minutes of direct sunlight every day. Get 15 minutes of sunlight. I don't know if my writing is wonky. So get at least 15 minutes. So what I like to do is in the morning around 8, 9 a.m., I like to go outside and stand outside with as minimal clothing as possible, exposing my whole body, all of my skin to natural sunlight for at least 15 minutes every day. What this does to you is because in the mornings you need that blue light, right? You need the blue light to kind of wake you up and you'll feel much more alive, much more awake. If you're a male, your testosterone will go up, everything will be well regulated if you get at least 15 minutes of sunlight every day. And this is the bare minimum. You know, you want to get much more than that. It's good for your vitamin D too. The other thing I realized is you can't take vitamin D pills if you're living somewhere that doesn't have enough sunlight. A vitamin D pill might be a good supplement, but what it doesn't do is it can't replicate the sunlight because there's another form of vitamin D that sunlight can give you. And it's when the UV ray hits your skin, it stimulates the production of vitamin D in the sulfate form, which pills can't do. So what I started to do in winter when I started to go back home in New York was I used a tanning bed. And I started to feel much better and much happier when I used a tanning bed. And I would just go like twice a week and do 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minute sessions. And I would feel much better. I would be sleeping much better as well after I did that. So I would definitely recommend that. That's just what I did, by the way. You don't have to do it. You can do it if you want to optimize your performance. You can test it out for yourself. But if you live somewhere where there's a lot of sun, I would definitely get 15 minutes of sunlight. That little bit of UV is actually good for you. There's two types of UV. There's UVA, which is the one that gives you the tan on your skin, and UVB, which is what will produce vitamin D in sulfate form. So this is what it does. Vit D in sulfate form. And the other thing is avoid blue light in the evenings. Avoid blue light in evenings. What do I mean by that? If you look at sunlight, it has a certain amount of blue light. You know, there's all different spectrums of it. Blue light is the highest and closest to the UV spectrum because it has the highest frequency. Okay? So in the evenings, you want to avoid blue light because blue light tells your body to not produce melatonin. So when you have a lot of blue light in the evenings, your body's going to stop producing melatonin. It's going to wake you up. The LED lights that you have in your house produce a lot of blue light and it kind of wakes you up. The screens that you surround yourself with, it wakes you up. So what I like to do is 2 hours before bed, I like to cut out all sorts of blue light and I wear these glasses called True Darks, if you've seen these here. So these glasses have red lenses and they just color out all blue light. They're called True Dark. True Dark glasses. I just wear them 2 hours before bed. If you can't replace the LED lights with filament bulbs in your house, get these glasses, they're really helpful. And when I did that, I would fall asleep much easier. Okay? So those are the 4 things I would recommend. Obviously, there's a lot of depth to this that I can't really cover here in this one video. It's probably stuff I don't have at the top of my head right now, but I wanted to leave you with general stuff that's going to help you optimize your performance and take it to the next level. This is a journey I've been on for the past 6-7 months, and it's helped me live a much better life. Society and times are changing nowadays, and you've got to find ways to keep yourself natural and keep yourself the way nature intended. Right? So with that, I conclude this video. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope this was helpful for you. Let's do a quick recap. Today we talked about how to heal yourself. And to heal yourself, you've got to live a lifestyle. You've got to live a lifestyle that cultivates a standard, a neutral level where you live like this. This is your way of living. And we began with food and understanding your gut microbiome first through doing the Viome test. And I figured out that I got to avoid tomatoes, anything containing histamine, red meat, and sugar. And superfoods for me were apple cider vinegar, bananas, avocados, basil seeds, honey, clarified butter. Number 2 is exercise, doing 20 minutes of exercise at the very minimum every day, and having 2 days of intense exercise. And you can do either meditation or yoga for your mental well-being. Number 3, sleep. 7 or 8 hours for me. I stopped setting an alarm, which was key for me. I'm gonna asterisk this. I stopped setting an alarm and I started to go to bed earlier, and I see that some nights I can sleep as little as 7 and other nights as much as 9 hours. And there are 4 phases of sleep. There's 3 non-REM sleep, which helps you recover your body and consolidate longer term memories, and REM sleep, which helps you consolidate shorter term memories and help your brain just recover better. Because there's 2 types of systems you have, the lymphatic and the glymphatic system. The glymphatic helps your brain recover, the lymphatic helps your body recover. And how I did that was through measuring my sleep via the Oura ring. It's a little ring that I used to wear. People thought it was like a hematite ring, but it was just a gadget. But I don't like to wear it every day because it starts to control your life. And the key was go to bed earlier. The last thing that I talked about was your environment and controlling your environment. Surround yourself in nature, get at least 15 minutes of sunlight, vitamin D, and sulfate form, because the ultraviolet stimulates the production of this vitamin D in the sulfate form, which is important for you. And you can't get that from pills. And if you don't live in an area where you can get that, I would definitely recommend checking out a tanning bed and trying that out. Not too much, because too much of it can be bad, but just little bits of it. And avoid blue light in the evenings. And the other thing about environment is also your social environment. Surrounding yourself with the right people. That is important. Surrounding yourself with right people, healthy people. And having a few friends that you hang out with. Human beings are social creatures. We need people around us. You can't just stay alone forever. It will slowly eat you up inside. So yeah, with that I can conclude this video. Thank you so much for watching. I sincerely hope this was helpful. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought of this. If you want me to make another video like this or anything else you'd like to see. I'm always curious to know what you guys think and what you guys are looking for. If I'm helping you out with this stuff, I never really know, because I just sit in front of a screen and I make these videos. So feedback is essential for me. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Hit that little bell there so you're notified of any new video that I put out. And also, if you'd like to work closer with me and my team in the Reality Mastery Program, you can apply for that in the link in the description below. Who we typically work with are people who are business owners and entrepreneurs who want to take their businesses to the next level, but what they're missing is their internal world. They have all of the tactics and strategies, they know what to do, but the doing is not the problem. Who they are is the problem. They keep doubting themselves, they're not confident in their ability to charge more, and they're seeing that this internal barrier is starting to seep into their businesses. If that sounds like you, I encourage you to schedule a consult. Let's see if we can help you identify your biggest blind spots and to help you take it to the next level. And our free Facebook group is open for you to take advantage of. The link for that is also in the description. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Till next time. Peace.